In the industry, we call this lighting bad. Hi, I'm Elliott Morgan and welcome to video. This is my smash or pass video. I really wanted to do like an original take for this, something that would really showcase my moral high ground, something that would tell all the females in my audience that I am but an innocent lamb in this area. Intercourse? More like inter of course not. But the truth is, I do sometimes objectify people, but I make up for it by occasionally anthropomorphizing objects. Kate, at times I choose to view you solely through the lens of my primal desires, but I'll turn you into a googly-eyed tomato sauce. Hi there, everybody. My name's Mr. Tomato Sauce. I went to Michael's to get googly eyes for that stupid joke. At times, unfortunately, I have reduced people to their sexuality. But for those guys out there who claim to have never done that or say they never do that, like for a moment, instinctively, yeah, I believe you, yeah. It's like when I'm stuck in traffic and I see a car and I know that inside that car there is a complex, probably loving human being, but when I see him, I just want to, like I want to have sex with that car.
Love you, baby. It was love at first sight. His body and then his interior and everything just together just seemed to fit.
I think the most original spin that I could do for the smash or pass thing that's been happening forever and I'm just now jumping on the bandwagon, I think the most original thing I could do is to just do the smash or pass challenge. So here we go. Jenna Marbles, man, whew, I have so much respect for her. I remember the first Jenna Marbles video I ever saw, like it was years ago. It was the how to trick people into thinking you're attractive, and I thought it was hilarious. But more than hilarious, now looking back on it, I think it's actually an amazing template for what makes YouTube so incredible. You know, the internet, by and large, was designed for us to be able to connect with one another. But now, more often than not, we aren't able to do that, especially with this current political climate. So anytime a creator can create some kind of an atmosphere where the viewer feels connected to the YouTuber, to the creator, I think that's amazing and should be lauded. I think Jenna Marbles deserves so much more respect than she actually gets because people tend to view her in a shallow light. But would I smash her? Honestly, even though Jenna is pretty and smart and successful and funny, the honest answer is I don't know. Now hear me out. The reason I don't know is just because of this thing called reality. There are just so many factors, like for one, there's logistics. Like I don't really know Jenna, so I don't really know if she would be into the idea, and that's kind of an important part, Like I feel like if you are a willing smasher and you're smitten with potential smashee, but that potential smashee isn't smitten with you, but you still want to smash, that's smucked up. What's cool though is that regardless of whether I smash or pass Jenna Marbles, the important thing is that I, as the man, retain the power. Yes! Power dynamics are complicated, and if there's one thing I hate more than admitting that sometimes I fear that I'm a failure and that I will never be able to have the impact on this world that I want to, it's vulnerability. Honestly, guys, I think sex is complicated, so I would rather compartmentalize it. I used to compartmentalize sex by putting it in a box called religion. Sex was reserved for a man and a woman, and they were gonna be married, and that was it. But after I started to accept that sex can be a more complex and nuanced thing, I nailed it. To the window, and then to the wall. Now I am way more evolved. Rather than adopt some creed that helps me cope with the terror of sex, I choose instead to reduce it to a binary choice, smash or pass, that's entirely my own and assumes willing participation from the other party. So the question is, would I, Elliott, a sometimes insecure man with at least a moderate understanding of how complex relationships can be, choose to engage in an act of physical pleasure hypothetically with another person who also happened to have their own hopes and desires and fears, provided all of the aforementioned criteria and then some were met and still allowed for a scenario where such a thing was possible? Peace up. A-Town down. Okay, next up we have PewDiePie. Now, the joke that I'm supposed to say here is that I would totally smash him, right? Like I'm supposed, because if I say like really fast that I would pass on him, you might think that I'm gay. Isn't that funny? What was cutting edge humor back in 1995 is now a way for straight men to say that not only are they straight, but they're so confident that they're straight that they would make a joke about having sex with another guy. So the big sell here, the presupposition, the thing that I'm trying to convey to you isn't that I'm gay or straight, it's that whatever I am, I'm sure of it. See, I think in the age of the internet, it's not sexual orientation that people are necessarily afraid of. I don't think it's skin color, I don't think it's gender. Those types of prejudices obviously still exist, but I think the thing that no one's really talking about, the thing that we're actually really afraid of, is unknowing. It's ambiguity. It's mystery. Whether right or wrong, the important thing is that we all come across like we all have it figured out. Thanks, Smasher Pass. I'm really learning a lot. If I saw PewDiePie in a bar, right, and I walked up to him, and I was like, oh my gosh, Adolf, how are you? First off, he would probably laugh at what is clearly a joke, hopefully. And then he would probably go on to say something along the lines of, here's how you get 100,000 subscribers every second, or however Swedish people talk, which, by the way, is very un-American. But the problem is that no matter what he said, I would only hear like 90% of it, because I would get distracted by how pretty his eyes are. He has beautiful eyes. They're piercing. PewDiePie looks like what Pixar imagines a human being to look like. So the question is, would I ever bump uglies with PewDiePie? And the answer is, I'm gonna go probably not. That's a hard probably not. It's a hard, girthy probably not. Because the thought of sex with another guy does not excite me at all. That said, he's a very handsome guy, okay? And if there's one thing we've learned, it's that sex and attraction and love and repressed desires and fears are all moving parts in this beautiful machine that is the human experience. So at the end of the day, who can never be sure?
Who can never be sure?
Extraordinary.
Next up, we have a Wheezy Waiter clone. All right, now this is right out of the gate a for sure smash, because clones don't have souls, so I can't run the risk of connecting with them on a spiritual level. Therefore, I can remain in control, which, as we've discussed, is the most important part of this whole thing. However, if I found out that this was the original Craig Benzine, well, that would be terrifying, because it would mean that a connection might actually happen, and if one thing led to another, potentially my ego boundary could collapse, and that's incredibly scary. See, the thing is, in life, I ultimately desire security and connection. More than success or money or fame or sex. What I really want is to not feel alone in the universe. I used to feel that way. I mean, granted, I was a baby, but as I grew up, I totes stopped feeling connected to things. I became aware of the world around me, and I became aware of myself, and I experienced a gulf between myself and the world around me. And I became a separate thing. And while I know cognitively that the human condition is one of separateness, falling in love presents a temporary, albeit beautiful and powerful fix. Inevitably, this falling in love experience, whether it's with Craig or Jenna or PewDiePie, would end. My ego boundary would snap back into place, and the actual work of real love, which is patient and kind and humble, would begin. It would be this painful and arduous expansion of myself, and that's where spiritual growth actually happens. That's where personal evolution happens. That's mysterious and scary, and I don't know what would happen if I jumped off the proverbial cliff. So while I'd smash the smuck out of a Craig clone, I'd passionately pass on Craig the Kai. So there you go, folks, my smash or pass video, in which I kind of attempted what I was trying to do, subvert the power dynamic, make myself a little vulnerable, was what I was aiming for, you know, sort of a, you know, kind of show that attraction itself is a more complex but rewarding thing than maybe we give it credit for. Me, right? Thanks for watching, and feel free to like the video, and please subscribe to the channel. You can even click that little notification if you'd like to hear more of my ranting. I'm having a great time making these videos. Let me know in the comments, by the way, what are your thoughts on attraction and the mysterious magic that is smashing? Thank you very much. Have a good day. And go be nice to people if you want, which you should want. And if you don't want, you should ask yourself, you know what? That's probably a different video, and I will just end the video.